Clearwater Marine Aquarium. My name is Bree. Around the pool we have Candace, and we have the pleasure of introducing you to some of our resident dolphins. In this habitat, we have both Rex and Rudy. Now, before we begin, we will ask any guests who are standing around the ropes to go ahead and take a seat so that those guests behind you are able to see the presentation as well.
Let me grab her hat.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for those of you who did that. And the dolphins are going to say hello with a very special splash. We're going to take a look at Rex. And then here's a good look at Rudy. Now these guys are, of course, rescued and resident rough-toothed dolphins. So they stranded in the year 2019. Stranded meaning that they beached themselves as a last-ditch effort to survive. They were brought in for rehabilitation, and then during their rehabilitation, they underwent a series of tests that would determine whether or not they would succeed if released back to the natural environment. Now, it was found that both dolphins were non-releasable due to some form of hearing loss. So Rudy, who's in front of me here, he was not able to be released due to partial hearing loss. So he is able to hear within the communication range, but he is not able to hear within the echolocation range, meaning that he cannot use sound to hunt for his food in the natural environment. Now Rex, who is currently retrieving some toys in his habitat, he was found to be completely deaf. So he's not able to communicate or echolocate for his food, and for that reason he was non-releasable. So both of them will remain under human care for the rest of their life, as they are wonderful ambassadors for their species. Now because they're non-releasable, we are responsible for their care for the rest of their life. And we care for them through positive reinforcement training. So what that means is we're going to ask them for certain behaviors, usually with the use of a cue. That's typically some form of a hand signal. And then they have the choice as to whether or not they want to do that behavior. Now, if they want to do the behavior and they're correct in their response, that is when they're going to be reinforced or rewarded. Now you'll see that we're giving them a ton of fish. They of course like their food, but they also enjoy a good back rub. They enjoy playing with water, getting one of their favorite toys. There's a bunch of different things we can use to communicate to them that they did an awesome job, and we want to see that behavior again in the future. Now let's say that they make a mistake. That's okay. What you would see us doing is absolutely nothing. So we draw lots of positive attention to the things that they do correctly, and we draw no attention at all to anything that's incorrect. Now with that style of training, we train these guys for a few different reasons, and we're going to start off with focusing on cognitive stimulation. Now we all know that dolphins are super smart animals. In the natural environment, they are constantly thinking and problem solving to find their next meal or to evade a predator. So out there in the wild, they're using their big brains all the time to survive. Now here at the aquarium, they don't have those same challenges, but it is important that they have the same opportunity. So something that we're going to do with Rex today is he's learning a behavior that we call match to sample. So it's basically the matching game. Many of us may have played that when we were younger. And Rex is being shown one item. He will then have a selection of items. Currently he's learning the behavior, so the selection is only 2 items right now. And then he will have to identify the match. So you can see that Candace is carefully showing him that boat. Don't worry, he can't hear us. And then he is going to select his choice. So that's okay. It's a great example of what we do when the animal is incorrect. So you're going to see Candace do absolutely nothing for about 3 seconds. That communicates to Rex, no, that wasn't quite what I was looking for. Now we're going to give him another chance to succeed. And we're going to help him out a little bit. So we're going to give him a hint by just placing the boat a little closer to him. So we're going to bias the choices, and that will help him to hear the idea of what I see is what I choose. She can switch up the arrangement of the items. She can choose different items for the next trial, but it's our job to try to communicate to Rex what we're looking for. So it looks like we're going to take it down to just one item. There's no way he can miss this one.
All right, well, that's pretty positive. I don't know.
Okay, awesome job, Rex. Now that he's been reinforced for making that choice, he's going to be more likely to do that again in the future. Anytime we reinforce a behavior, it's going to cause that behavior to happen again in the future. So now that he's been fed for touching that boat, he's very likely going to want to touch that boat again. So let's see if we're correct. Yeah! So it's really fun to watch how they're starting to learn exactly what we're looking for. Now the end goal of this behavior is not that Rex always goes and bites the boat. Instead, it's that he's able to see different items and understand the general concept of I'm shown one thing and then I'm going to go look for that thing. So it's a really fun way for us to offer mental stimulation to the animal. Again, it helps us to give them that opportunity to use their big brain like they might be doing in a natural environment. Now it looks like we're going to go for another trial with a different item. So we have here a pink horseshoe, and we're going to compare it against that piece of foam. So they look pretty different to us, right? Dolphins can see in color, so there shouldn't be an issue with the color either. We're going to give him a nice good look at that horseshoe. And then we'll see him make his choice. Now something that could be a little confusing here is Candace recently introduced a variety of new or novel items to the behavior. And sometimes when the dolphins see something that's new, it becomes something that's really cool and interesting, and they may be drawn to that new item as well. So we're going to use the same steps here. We're going to give him one option to choose from. Good job, Rex. And then after he's been reinforced for making that choice, he may be more likely to select that horseshoe again in the future. And we're much more confident. Very good job. Now the next area of training that we focus on with our dolphins is for physical exercise. Now dolphins in the wild, they have to work pretty hard in order to find their next meal or to evade a predator. So out there, they're constantly using energy in order to survive and succeed. Now in this environment, they're not really challenged in the same way. They live a pretty cushy lifestyle. But it is important that they have those opportunities to exercise like they might be doing in the wild. Now a behavior that I'm teaching Rudy is how to do what we call a forward tail walk. So Candace is going to give Rudy the cue, and when he sees that cue, he should take off towards me. What I have in my hand is a target hold. So this is how I'm able to instruct Rudy as to how he should move in the environment in order to do that tail walk behavior. Now a fun fact about Rex is that he too is learning this behavior but with a different trainer. So a lot of times when he sees us set up to do the behavior, he goes, I want to go first. I want to do that behavior. So we're going to look for Rex to stay with his trainer Candace, even though he is so tempted to come this way. And then Rex should allow Rudy to do the behavior. Okay, we can reinforce that one. And if Rex wants to come touch the target, he's very welcome to.
Go touch it.
Oh, so fun. Good job. Okay, we're going to look for Rudy to do that behavior one more time. I'm going to increase my distance away from Candace so that Rudy will have to do the behavior on his own. Now the eventual goal is that Rudy's able to do the behavior without me present at all. So he should be able to do it on his own. But just like Rex was learning that match the sample, this is something new that Rudy is learning. Okay, Rex really wants to touch that target. Let's see it. Wow!
Oh, wow. I think she stays.
Oh, good job. Okay, go back. Okay, now it's Rudy's turn. Good job, Rudy. Go, go, go. There we go. And we'll accept that from Rudy. Now, as we finish up our training section today, we do want to thank you guys for coming to the Clearwater Marine Aquarium to view amazing animals like Rex and Rudy in a way that is safe and appropriate for both you and the animal. As a reminder, these guys are protected in the natural environment by the Marine Mammal Protection Act. So if you're on Florida vacation and you come across them in their natural environment, we want to keep a safe and legal distance of at least 50 yards from those wild animals. Putting our boats and jet skis into neutral rather than charging after them for a closer look. And of course, if we're trying to touch them or feed them, swim with them, harm or harass them, as those types of interactions are disturbing to animals in their natural environment. Now we have a little competition to end our presentation here today. So both Rex and Rudy know how to do a behavior that we call a bow. And we're gonna have you guys vote on who has the best bow. Sound good? So we're gonna take a look at Rex first. 1, 2, 3, go Rex! Woo! Okay, that's the competition that Rudy is up against. Okay, and here's Rudy. 1, 2, 3, go Rudy. Okay, and Rudy quit after the first one. There's a clear winner here, right? That's Rex. We'll give it to him. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us today at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. If you have any questions, we'll be around to answer those for you. But for now, thanks for coming out and enjoy your day. Bye-bye, everybody.
Czekaj, Weronika. Weronika. Jest to? Yeah, you did the T-Rex.
I know, right? I'll take their money. You don't put something in contract to get paid. Holy crap.
Greg said hi. What's Rudy have over there? He has hose and hi, baby. Should we get in with you? What do you think?
Oh god, there's shadow over there. Oh, snap. It's the first time I've seen one of you guys get in the water with them.
Are you taking questions yet or not yet?
Sure. What's your question?
It's a little bit complicated.
Okay.
But the rough-toothed dolphin is a pelagic, offshore dolphin species, right?
Correct.
Right. And my understanding is, I don't know if this is quite correct or not, but the rough-toothed dolphin, per standards of pelagic dolphins, tends to fare better in captivity than others.
You know, I'm not so sure if we really know the answer to that. There aren't too many facilities that have this type of dolphin. In the United States, it's just us in Clearwater. So ours have done really well so far in human care, but I don't know what exactly all the research is on their lifespan here versus there.
Yeah, no, what I was getting at more was,
Other pelagic species?
yes, because I know there's a surprisingly large amount of species that have been kept in captivity, the northern right whale dolphin and all that stuff, and they tend to do very poorly, last a few days and whatnot. And I've noticed that in the attempts to keep rough-toothed dolphins, they usually tend to fare better. So I guess my question more is there any knowledge on what the actual mechanistic basis is for the difficulty of pelagic dolphins in captivity?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. It probably has something to do with just deep water in that life. Like, we can only give them so much deep water here, right?
Right.
The lifestyle is different. And also, with animals and human care, a lot of it has to do with how they socialize. And so, like, bottlenose dolphins tend to do really well in human care because they're very social. They live in groups. These guys as well, but I'm not sure about the other species of deep water if they're less social or more social.
Do you think it might be anything physiological? Because I hear a very common problem is that they bump into walls and that sort of thing. So do you think it might be that their muscles are physically less able to turn within a small and maneuver within a smaller environment? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know that large sharks have that issue in human care. You have to be very meticulous with making an environment, making it rounded, because if not, they can get stuck in corners. And I'm not so sure about dolphins. I don't know if I've heard about that. It's a very good question.
Yeah, thank you.
He probably is doing it just so he can catch and rescue. Okay, that's okay. We'll take it.